Since January, I've made two YouTube videos, one in January, one earlier this month, where I talk aloud about what kind of marriage I would want to be in if ever the chance arose. I've linked both of them in the description below, but in short, I would want equality. I would not want, for example, gender equality when it suits one of us, and then traditionalism when it doesn't suit anymore. Either basically gender equality or gender roles for both, no flipping from one to the other when it suited one partner. I also wouldn't want to be in one of those marriages where one partner is always putting the effort in and getting nothing in return or very little, the scraps, the leftovers, while the other puts in very little but acts like that's some kind of major sacrifice or that their presence is enough of a sacrifice. And I'd want affection to be expressed not just in words but by actions as well. And for those actions to be offered out of true love and not so they can be cashed in later or held over the other partner as a form of blackmail or bribery. I would want the sacrifices of both parties to be taken into consideration by the other. So none of this housework is important, your working 9 to 5 is nothing, followed by a sudden reversal of that opinion when the two partners swap roles and the breadwinner becomes the homemaker and vice versa. Money would belong to both partners. Neither partner would have to beg to be able to spend money that the other was allowed to spend freely. Neither partner would have to ask for money and be given a list of conditions in return for that money. Basically, what belongs to one belongs to the other. And if one of us is allowed friends, then so is the other. And the decision making around the house or family decisions are made by both parties equally, instead of the method I've seen where one partner, their relatives, their friends, and even the kids have a say over the other henpecked partner who is shouted down and undermined if he even protests. And I would want a relationship where sex is an act where both parties pleasure each other and are patient with each other. Also, neither partner should be made to feel like they're an option or second best. No one should be made to feel like a sidekick character in their partner's life story, or a fan to the rock star that is their partner, or a worshipper to some kind of deity. In my sort of ideal relationship, we would both be sharing a life story together, we would both be rock stars, and we would both treat each other like titans. If the home is a country, then both partners would be natural born citizens rather than one being the citizen and the other being a naturalised citizen or some kind of migrant who has to work twice as hard and watch their every word, action, thoughts, lest they be deported on a whim. And both partners should feel safe, supported and protected by the other. Even if one of them is physically or emotionally stronger than the other, it should still cut both ways. Now, marriage isn't something I'm hunting. I'm the sort of person that when I find someone, then I begin to explore the possibility of a relationship. Other than that, I'm single. And I also don't look to relationships as a solution to my problems. Sure, relationships can provide support and may lead to a solution but I don't see how they can be the solution themselves. So this is all theoretical to me. But when I get close to someone, I do begin to almost study them. So I observe their viewpoints, how they view people based on gender, race, country of origin, job, etc. I also view how they see people they find attractive. For example, I would want someone that's physically attracted to me. That would be important. I think, you have to be realistic. That is kind of an important thing. Now, I've had people that tell me they find me attractive, but they've told me that in a very normal way. But when they describe people they find more attractive, their tone of voice changes. They begin licking their lips as they talk, and they become more descriptive about that person. In that instance, I know that while they don't see me as ugly, they don't find me attractive in the way they find someone else attractive. I guess it's like when a woman lies to a man about his cock size and says it's huge, and tries flattering him by saying it would probably hurt her if they had sex, but then the guy finds out that she has dildos bigger than his entire body. A less crude example would be my creative work. To analogize, I've had situations where I've sent someone something I've written or edited together, and their feedback is either bland or non-existent, or they comment on how lovely it is to have something made for them, but they never compliment or comment on the content. Yet you can't shut them up about their praise for someone else's work. And that's simply because they like the fact I've made something for them, but they didn't enjoy the work itself. The piece of work itself. It's nothing personal, I know. It's just the other person who someone else did a better job than me. When I realise this, I decide instead of being upset, I'm just going to aim to do a better job next time, or just stop sending this particular person or these particular people things, and hope to find someone one day who genuinely does enjoy my work, which I'm sure will happen one day. And it's the same with physical attraction. If someone appreciates me, but not as much as another person in terms of looks, or even personality, I just accept that and know that I'm not really for them. I also look at how they treat me in the day-to-day. So online, I wonder, am I the first person they message when they wake up? Do they frequently ignore my messages? Am I slotted in whenever they have a spare moment or are bored? Or do they actually set aside time for me? And IRL, do they show up on time, or are they always late? Do they spend their whole time with me on their phone? Do they always invite other people along? Do they drink a lot when they're around me? Does our interactions increase when they're drunk? Or do they cancel plans easily? All of these things are methods I use to decipher if someone is really interested in me, should the possibility of a relationship arise. But I do worry if I will end up in a relationship or even a marriage where I am simply the utility, where I'm never allowed to forget that I'm the lucky one, not my partner. Where I'm only around to provide, but nothing more. And then I'm just disposed of. No legacy, not even our kids will have my name. If I'm lucky, I might make it on their birth certificate, who knows? The only use I will have thereafter is money. I suppose the reason why I overthink this kind of thing, and why I'm like this on the topic of relationships, or when studying a potential future partner, why I have to study them at all, is just simply because I've sort of been treated as an option and a backup plan before. The only difference this time would be that I can't just walk away like I did before. This time I would be tied to someone legally and possibly in blood if we have children. And the thought of being in that sort of situation frightens me. And this is where I'm just sort of talking aloud, and where I'm going to wonder if it's worth posting this video, or should I post it? I think that if I ended up in a relationship like that, I think at first I would be such a nice guy that I would be like, okay, things are bad now. I feel like a bit of a utility now, but things can change, so I'll stick on. I'll put on the fake smile. Hopefully, if I improve my attitude, if I fake it, then I'll make it later. But I think that once it got to a point where I realised it was just never going to change, and this is a dark thing to say, but I'm going to force myself to say it and then force myself to post this. I'd probably top myself. Now, I just want to say, anyone in that situation, this isn't me advocating for you to do the same. This is me talking about me. And for what it's worth, currently, I don't feel that way. I don't feel suicidal. But I think in that situation, knowing me as I do, I think I would be pushed in that direction. I think that I would realise, you know what, this is all I've been so far. Even the person that pledged to spend the rest of their life with me sees me this way. There's no point. And I think I would, you know, one day when my partner was at work or out with the boyfriend, I think I'd find a nice wooded area and just do the job. And it wouldn't be a punishment for her. It wouldn't be to punish her or to make a scene. It would just be, I can take a hint. I'm freeing you, and in doing so, I'm freeing myself as well. I try and make it as clean as possible for the person that found me. I was going to say I probably wouldn't leave the partner any kind of notes, because, you know, when your cooker breaks or your car breaks, they don't leave a note, so, you know, why would this utility do that? But I think I would, simply for the fact that I would want to clear some names. Because I would hate it if someone that at least once upon a time pretended to care about me would suffer. It would hurt me that I'd be repaying them for that small gesture by, you know, making it look as though, to the outside world, as though they'd caused this, when I know full well that they wouldn't. You have to understand that people don't do that sort of thing over one thing. And I've always been very clear when I've been in my sort of low moods that if I ever do take my own life, it would be on my own authority. No one else caused it. No one else deserves the blame or the credit. So I would probably leave a note just to explain, you know, for the inquest, the sudden death inquest, that this was on me. No one made me do this. I chose to do it myself. I know this is a dark thing, and maybe I've been too honest here, and maybe after a while I should put this video on unlisted mode and just declare it like a private diary thing, but I honestly think that's where my mind would go. I think that's how things are. I'd hate to be in a relationship like that. I also think relationships where the partners are treated unequally, in particular among sort of along gender lines, I think they have sort of a danger of not just damaging the couple, but also spreading onto their kids. If you treat your partner unequally because of their gender or something, you may end up treating a kid of that same gender unequally to a sibling. And I do actually have a video planned at some point in the future where I would like to talk about, like, sort of what kind of father I'd be. Obviously not a very good one after what I've just confessed to. But like I say, I'm not in like that kind of mood. This isn't a mental health video. I'm just sort of talking aloud, really, as I tend to. But that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to be in that kind of relationship, because I wouldn't want to bring kids into that. But I'd also just not want to be in that situation again, but this time on steroids. And the only thing that would kill me more than that is if I get into a relationship and find out that actually the other partner, my partner, feels I treat them that way. That's something I'm very conscious about. I'm very observant over the way people treat me, online friends, real life friends, lovers, whatever. I'm very conscious of how they treat me, but I'm also very conscious about how I treat them. So, yeah, I just wanted to have that little rant. for the one person who is watching this, who I assume is actually a friend of mine from around here. So yeah, goodbye.